Welcome to the Navigating Disability podcast, where we explore the journeys and triumphs of people living with disability. Today I'm with my co-host Jen Abbott, and we're excited to speak with Veronica Stephan-Miller, a passionate advocate for inclusion and accessibility. Veronica has dedicated her life to breaking down barriers and creating opportunities for individuals with disabilities. In this episode, we'll talk about her life, her work, her vision for a more inclusive world, and how we can all contribute to building a better, more accessible society. Tune in for an inspiring conversation with Veronica Stephan-Miller. Welcome, Veronica.
Thank you, Kate. It's lovely to be here today.
We're so excited to have a chat to you about everything disability. And you did make a comment before that I've changed my background and I've crossed out the dis. Do you want to expand on that?
I think it's wonderful because I don't see that a person is disabled. Um, my view is that people have different challenges they have to deal with, but society is what disables us.
Oh, could
Um,
not agree more. Perfect.
a deaf person isn't disabled until they aren't able to communicate with somebody because there's a lack of signing translators.
Yeah.
I use a wheelchair. In my home, I am not disabled, but when I go out, if I have to go up steps, that disables me.
Yes.
So we need society to enable us instead of disable us.
Oh, love that. Absolutely love that.
Great way to start.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Veronica, and about the condition that you have and how it occurred? Was it from birth? Was it something that you've acquired? And how you sort of live your life?
Yeah, sure. So no, it wasn't from birth. Well, I suspect I had fibromyalgia from when I was a toddler. I had the symptoms for that were showing up very mildly. I just thought it was a little bit odd. But when I was about 30, I developed chronic fatigue syndrome that I didn't realize that's what it was at the time. And that triggered the fibromyalgia. So then the hypersensitivities became a lot, the pain, obviously the fatigue. Um, so it's almost 25 years ago. I can't remember what it feels like not to be tired. I've been tired that whole time. I can't remember. I know I used to wake up with energy, but that doesn't happen anymore. So that's very limiting. And that is what the chronic fatigue disables me, because people who live with chronic pain know there's a certain level you can live with. There's a certain level you could ignore and just, yeah, I've got my back is 6 out of 10 today, but I can still do something. But fatigue, you can't. 2 times I tried to ignore my body and it literally wouldn't work. Imagine a marionette with a strings cut.
Mm.
I just, there was no fall because I tripped or lost balance. It was my body stopped working, and that is terrifying.
Yeah.
The second time it happened, I realized, okay, time to get a wheelchair so I can safely go out and about. And yeah, so I've been adjusting. It's mentally exhausting. I have to make, it feels like a gazillion little micro assessments each day. So when I get up from this chair, I'm in my comfy office chair. Because I've been sitting down for about an hour, I'll need to put my hands on the table. I'll need to stop and think, what do my legs feel like? What does my energy feel like? Do I feel faint? I have low blood pressure sometimes. So I have to make all these assessments before I stand up. And once I stand up, is it safe to move? Can I take a step? Do I need to just stand for a couple of seconds and get my bearings and then take those 2 steps to get to my wheelchair? So this is constant in my life before I do anything. It's so today I'm doing this podcast, which I was very excited about, but I had to take factor into account I need to have a shower. I would like to, I don't have to, but I wanted to do my makeup. I felt like being a bit fancy today. So all that is extra energy. So yesterday I rested up. I was mostly sitting in my chair. I used my wheelchair even when normally I wouldn't, just to conserve that energy. So when I did this today, I'm not going to be suffering for the next week.
Yeah. A lot of
So,
scaffolding for you to do.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah. So the pain is actually easier to deal with than the fatigue, which most people wouldn't understand. I'm at the moment today, my pain is, it's not too bad. It's probably down actually only a 4 at the moment. It has been mostly 5 or 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Flares up to 7, gets to 8. That's like I want the good stuff.
Yeah.
7 out of 10 is when I take the 2 Panadeine Forte. So yeah, but I can deal with that. It's a known. I know it'll go away, but the fatigue is frustrating because it doesn't go away. You can't ignore it. You can't push through it because your body will push back, and it's not pleasant. Yeah.
You said that this you had signs growing up, but obviously
Mm-hmm.
you weren't aware of what they were,
Mm-hmm.
and it hit you at 30. What
Yes.
happened at 30?
Um, I'm not sure. I'd resigned from work about, I think, about 5 months before. I was always on the go, very active,
Yeah.
fit, strong. You know, that woman who does everything, crazy. And I think my body just went, and I had what I thought. Now, I'd never had the flu before, and I thought I had this really weird flu at the beginning of the year. It was just really odd. I thought, oh, that's not what my friends said they had when they had the flu. Like, what is this thing? And the tiredness level, it was just a very low level fatigue. And then later in the year, I had my first flare up of fatigue where I was housebound. I was living in a Queenslander. There were 10 steps at the back, 17 at the front. I couldn't step outside because I was too scared that I would not be able to go back up the steps. Remembering this is the first time it happened to me. I didn't know what was happening. Um, and yeah, just since then.
And do
Um,
you know when it's going to affect you?
um, yes and no. So because I've been living with it for so long, almost, so going on 25 years, I know certain things will trigger the fatigue and the pain, and then also the hyper. So the hypersensitivities are annoying, but they're not disabling generally. Um, but if I have a really, like, if I'm really emotionally distraught and get upset, that will trigger a flare up. If I don't listen to my body and have a break when I need to, I know I will suffer for that later. Today it's going to be about 32 degrees here. So when I woke up at 8 o'clock, I turned on the aircon unit because if it gets too hot, then that triggers pain and fatigue. So there's certain things I know will trigger, but sometimes I'll go to bed and I'll go to sleep and I'll wake up more tired than I went to bed. And it's insulting. Like,
Yeah.
I went to bed, I could actually get, since I've got chronic insomnia too. So I can go to bed and go to sleep. And when I wake up, I can feel more tired than before I went to bed for no discernible reason. So it's some things, yes, I know I'm going to pay for this. I need to manage. Okay, don't plan anything for those days. The other times it just hits me.
And back when you were 30,
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that's when you were diagnosed?
No,
No?
I didn't get an official diagnosis till I was 39.
Wow.
I was just tired and just pushed through it. I had 3 kids.
Yeah, as you
Just,
do.
just
Mum life.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Typical mum, just push on and work around it. It wasn't, it, it was kind of like a line. So it started off just little and then it sort of got worse. It's very bad at the moment because I had to stop my therapies, which has impacted me terribly. Um, Other things, so I had a heart attack in December 22, second major heart attack, and that triggered a 3-week flare of chronic fatigue. So the first time I had a heart attack was 2011, and that didn't trigger a fatigue flare up. The next morning, I was asking the cardiologist, "Can I walk around yet? What can I do?" I was, antsy to be in bed. This time, I wasn't getting out of bed. It just wasn't happening.
Couldn't
So
move.
three weeks in bed. I'm talking 20 to 22 hours a day in bed.
Yeah.
Okay. So aside from the essential going to the loo and straight back to bed, I was only out of bed for 2 hours a time, once or twice a day for 3 weeks. That is disabling because you trying to just shower, brush your teeth. I ended up paying a hairdresser because I could not wash my hair because the fatigue was so bad. Just doing this, that was too much. So I paid a hairdresser just to wash my hair.
Yeah. And I think that people that don't suffer from the fatigue, like the chronic fatigue, we can never really understand how debilitating it is because there's fatigue, like you're tired and you don't want to do anything, but this is crippling.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's absolutely.
I've been exhausted before. I had 3 kids. The
Yeah.
boys ran a year apart. They're like, it was like having twins sometimes. It was just crazy. Um, so they kept me busy. I was working full time. I still found time for sewing and crochet and gardening. So, I would get tired before, and I'd go to bed and I'd fall into a sleep, but
Yeah.
I would wake up feeling refreshed. That's the difference now. I don't feel refreshed. I don't have that energy anymore. And I have to stop and think, well, okay, I want to have a shower and wash my hair. What else am I doing this day? Do I have the spoons, the energy to do that? Do I have to rest up? It's very, yeah, it's very mentally exhausting as well. And that's something I don't think people realize. It's not the physical exhaustion, it's also the mental exhaustion.
And
It's difficult to
frustration
think.
too.
Sorry, Kate, you go. I've just interrupted you.
Sorry. And the frustration too of not being
Mm,
able to do these
Mm.
things when
mm,
you want to.
mm. So I had to miss out on my sister's birthday in January. She's moved and she booked for lunch, but it was a 1.5 hour drive, and that was too much for me. I had to let her know the day before I won't be turning up. So it was just 1.5 hours in the car to about say 2 hours over lunch and 1.5 hours home. That was too much, and I could not cope with that. So I had to miss out seeing my family for my sister's birthday this year.
Yeah.
That's the sort of thing that people don't see.
Yeah. Just with everything that you go through, there would be moments of self-doubt and reflection. How do
Mm.
you overcome that? Like, what mindset do you go into your day going, I'm just going to get through it as positively as I can? What do you put in place that helps you push forward?
I've always been a very pragmatic person.
Yep.
I'm also a bit of an incurable optimist, but I'm very pragmatic in that I focus on what can I do today.
Yep.
Um, I I find it very depressing if I have to see a new specialist or GP or NDIS thing, because I have to think about what's my worst day, what can't I do, and
Yeah.
that is depressing. That really brings you down. But I look at, okay, I can still shower myself, I can still toilet myself. Very important.
Yeah.
Um, I am still able to walk, even if I'm limited in how far I can walk, and I can't stand up for long, but I can still stand up. I can walk from the wheelchair to the car. So I look at, these are the things I can do.
Those small
And
wins.
yes,
Yeah.
and when I'm feeling frustrated, I stop and think, well, if this was my friend and my friend was telling me they were feeling frustrated because their body wouldn't let them do X, Y, Z, would I be critical of them, or would I be supportive and say, be kind to yourself?
Mm.
So I try to be kind to myself.
Yeah.
It's not my fault I have this. It's just happened. I'm dealing with it best I can. So be kind to myself.
Yeah.
That is so true. And I think half the time we are our hardest critics.
Oh, aren't we
Mm.
just?
We would not even think of speaking to our children the way that we speak to ourselves or anyone else for that matter. How did you find, from 30 to 39, where you didn't have a diagnosis and then beyond, how did you deal with society's perceptions of you?
Um, I was able to manage things so that strangers wouldn't have known. I could still drive, I could still do the shopping. I just did rest a lot at home.
So it's
Um,
almost like a hidden disability, a little
it
bit.
is. It is. It's an invisible disability. It's mine's only visible because now I need the wheelchair. So people see the wheelchair and, oh, there's a disabled person. Let's be nice to them. Which both irks me at times because you should be nice to everyone.
Yeah.
I find amusing at other times. And if I'm in a mood, because remember, I'm in my 50s, perimenopause, I get in the mood times, I will make full advantage of that. Like when you go to vote and people are shoving things in your face, it's just like, get out of my way, I'm running over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but back then, I didn't have the wheelchair. There's nothing outward to show I was different. So the main frustrations for me was some family members who didn't understand and, just go for a walk.
Clear your head.
Because that'll fix everything.
Yeah.
A complete stranger told me that I was lazy and just needed an alarm clock.
Oh, that's just beautiful, isn't it?
I want a medal for not slapping him. Seriously. I was about 35, I think. And this complete stranger, a male in his 50s, told me I need an alarm clock for my fatigue. And in my mind, I slapped him up the back of the head, but I was very good and I kept my hands to myself.
Oh
But that's
gosh.
the sort of reaction you get. Just get an
Yeah.
alarm clock. Just go for a walk. Just don't use your wheelchair.
Yeah.
It's
And
like
I think,
I've collapsed. Okay, I was walking at the Alfred Hospital in Melbourne. I didn't realize how far it was from here at the car park to the front of the hospital to the elevators. And about halfway down my body, it's hard to describe. There's a sensation. And when I get that sensation, I know my body is about to just stop. And I was panicking because we're in just this long hallway. And I saw some chairs, and they would have been 5, 6 meters away from me. I only just made it to the chairs. I didn't sit down. I fell sideways into the chairs. And if they hadn't been there, I would have been flat on my face on the floor. That is how debilitating it can be. And this is what people don't see.
Is that also because you hide it well?
Probably.
You're good at masking?
Uh, yeah, that's a whole other story. But yes,
Because
very
you
good at
don't want to
masking.
appear to be less.
yeah, you
Well,
don't want to be treated any different, right? At the end of the day.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm Veronica.
Yeah.
I'm not that poor sad woman in a wheelchair. I'm Veronica. I'm independent. I still do these things. I've still got a mind of my own. Um, I don't want pity.
Yeah.
I don't even want sympathy. Empathy, I can deal with. Empathy is good. That is when people, if they either understand because they're in your shoes, or they're observing and they accept what I say. So someone will accept that I say I can't do that. So they'll say, "Oh, that must be really hard." That's not pity.
Yeah.
Right? That's empathy. So yeah, I don't want pity. It is what it is. I can't change it. I'm doing my best to within my ability to deal with it.
Growing up with the three children, and did you say three boys?
2 boys and a daughter.
We're both mothers of three boys. We get
That's
it.
why
Oh,
we
you
laughed.
lucky women.
I think that's why we instantly laughed when you said boys. I was like, we know about that.
How has your diagnosis affected them and their lives, if it has at all?
Oh, it has definitely. Children who have a parent with a disability, it affects them. So so my daughter would have been, I think 9 years old. I was on my own at that stage, a single parent, and I couldn't stand up to prepare dinner. I was having a flare up. So I'd have to get my 9-year-old daughter to peel the vegetables for dinner, and then I'd go and cut the vegetables and the meat, and then I'd have a rest, and then I'd get up and finish cooking dinner and sit down on the dining chair in between. So the kids did have to do a bit more around the house to help out with things, and just even things like I'd be resting and getting up and walking to the kitchen and back. I'd get the kids to make me a cuppa instead of doing it myself. Not because I think kids should have to do that, but because that was the best use of my energy. I'm really lucky. My kids are awesome. They really stepped up to the plate. Like,
Because you're a mum and they love you unconditionally, right? So they'll do, it's just
yeah,
as my boys, and I'm sure Kate's are, we all muck in. If anyone's low or
yeah,
anyone needs a
yeah,
hand, you just get in and you do it. Because at the end
yeah.
of the day, your family's your team. They're your greatest
That's it.
support, aren't they? Yeah.
That's it. That's it. So I'm very proud of my children. They really did step up well. I tried not to put too much on them because I think I definitely believe children need to do housework for two
Yes.
reasons. One, they live in the house, so they need to learn personal responsibility.
Could you
I think
tell
that's
my
important.
teenage son that? Can you
Oh, happily, I'm good at dealing with teenage boys.
pop that on a
And
flyer for me?
also because what are they going to do when they leave home?
Mm.
When I went to uni, my second year at uni, the first year student came in. He is a private school boy. He was 18. And I was in the laundry getting my stuff out of the dryer. And he's sitting in the washing machine with this great big box of Omo, whatever, looking at the machine going, and he looks at me and goes, "Oh, what do I do?" I said, "You turn it to that setting and oh, the knob's broken." Like, no, push it in and turn it. When you're ready to start, you pull it out. He goes, "Oh, do I just pour this in?" Like, no, stop. So at not quite 19 years of age, I decided that any children I had in the future, would know how to look after themselves before they left home.
Yes.
And they'll be able to wash and dry the dishes, use a dishwasher, a washing machine, a dryer, the clothes, like,
Yeah.
they could vacuum and clean the toilet. So I taught my children all those things, and so they're very independent. Once I got to about, I think my daughter was about 14, and we started that once a week she would cook dinner for the family, and she could either choose to do it herself or she could ask for help. So just to get used to cooking a meal. But so I think it is important, but I also think kids need to play. They don't do all the housework. They have, this chore on this day and this chore on that day. So it's hard to balance, because you want your kids to run outside and have fun, but then you're limited, and certain things need to be done. And it doesn't matter if the house doesn't get dusted every week, but you kind of need to cook.
Yep. Otherwise, you have child services on your door.
Yeah, kids get cranky when you don't feed them.
Yeah. Who has been your biggest supporter over your journey?
I have different people at different times.
Yeah.
And overall, I've been very lucky. I've got great support from my family and friends. Um, but I guess I am probably too independent, because I rely on myself.
And I was just going to say that you've probably been your own best supporter of managing your daily life and what you need. Do you find it hard to ask for what you need?
Oh, goodness, yes. Oh, yes. That is probably my biggest flaw. So I got put onto the NDIS May 2019, and I got a support worker. And they came to the house. I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. You seem like a really nice person. What do I do? What do I do with this person in my house? Like, I just moved house, so it was a guy, younger, nice and strong, so I got him to be some boxes for me to start with the help. I don't know what to do. Like, what? There's no instructions on what you do with your support worker. So when the cleaner came, I would feel guilty that she was cleaning the shower, that I had to put, it's like I had to learn to know these people are here for a reason. You were struggling. It was taking me literally all afternoon just to clean the toilet. So I couldn't just clean it. I had to pour the liquid in the bowl, and then I'd do like the top and the assistant, and then I'd have a rest. And then I'd come back and I'd do the top of the lid, under the lid, the seat. I have a rest. Then do outside the pedestal, and I have a rest. So I'd finally do inside the bowl and the rim and finish. But this took me 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
So I had to remind myself, you do need help. You were not coping. Just sit and read your book and don't hover.
So, Veronica, what would be your best advice to someone out there that it struggles to accept the help?
To realize that we don't have to rely on ourselves for everything.
Yeah.
It's okay to ask for help, and people want to help. So I think I turned it around when I realized in my head, hey, now I've had friends who needed help for different reasons over the years, and I didn't begrudge giving them that help. I wasn't. I freely offered my time, and I didn't feel anything negative about doing it, that I enjoyed helping them. So I thought, well, maybe these people enjoy helping too. And I do a lot of I've been very lucky. A lot of my support workers, clients, have been beautiful people, and they're doing this because they want to help others. I mean, obviously they need to make a living, but they're choosing to help other people.
Their core value is they're in it for the right reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. If I would, if one of my friends had, well, a friend broke his leg, my housemate, and then he broke his arm.
Nice.
So while he was learning to do things, I made his coffee and I cut off his dinner.
Yeah.
So even though I'm restricted and I need help, there are still some things I can do. I can help people with paperwork. I can help with their renting or whatever. I can help them with, okay, these are your rights. This is what you need to do. So I'm still helping other people. So that helps me.
Yeah.
In terms of your life, you said you just recently moved home. Does your disability impact then where you can move to? Like, do you have to be very
goodness, yes,
particular about where you live?
Yes. We're very lucky. So this house I've been in for just over 4 years. And the landlord called a few months ago. He had an extra appraisal done on the house outside of the normal one. And he called to reassure me that this is a long-term investment. It's for his daughters. So the littlest one, I think, is one now. It's long-term, and this is my home as long as I want to live here. So that is a huge relief.
Yeah.
So I've got this home. But so an example would be, so we have, there's a garage with an internal door, there's a step. So a ramp was made for my garage. But if we move, I can't use that ramp unless the step is the same height and the door has the hinges on. When you're in the garage, the door needs to have the hinges on the right hand, on the left open, because the right has a straight bit and the left has a slanty bit on the ramp. Go down, it's got like a little.
Yeah.
So I can't put that in front of a door that has a wall to the left because it won't fit.
So
you've had
to modify the house?
No, we've been very lucky. The house was built new, first ones to live in it, and the hallways are actually quite wide. There's only one doorway I have trouble getting into, which is a central toilet, and I use the ensuite anyway. So I can get around my wheelchair. I love sewing. The main bedroom is my sewing room. My sewing room has the ensuite and walk-in robe, and I've got the smallest room. So you open the door and the wardrobe is at the end and then my bed's across. So I can actually reverse in through the door around the wardrobe, and I can put my wheelchair in between my bed and the wardrobe if I'm having a really bad time. Normally I just leave it in the hallway, but I can do that if I need to. So it's been quite good. The shower, the ensuite shower is big enough. I've got a shower chair in there so I could sit down when I'm showering. So I haven't, the main modification is just the external doors. With that I was asked if I wanted to ramp at the front door as well as the garage. I said no, because you have to have the wooden door opening and then you've got the screen door and you have to hold it. And I said no, it's easy. I can just go in the garage, use the fob, open the door, shut the door, no fuss.
So there really is a big consideration. It is a big thing for you to have to move and make sure that the house accommodates you and the wheelchair and.
Yeah. Are the hallways wide enough? Are the doorways wide enough? Is there a shower I can safely get into? I can't use a shower over a bathtub anymore. Just things like that. How many steps? If there's more than one step, I can't do it. I mean, I can manage 2 or 3 steps at a time, but it's not always safe.
Yeah, and it's the simple things that we forget are challenges for people with different abilities.
Yes.
Yeah. So what about, do you still drive now, Veronica?
I can still drive.
Yeah. And you take the wheelchair with you?
Yeah, I don't have a car at the moment, but my housemate lets me drive his car. I'll go like 5 minutes to KFC drive through. My wheelchair, it's pulls apart into 4 pieces so it can fit into the boot of an ordinary car. I don't need a special car for it. I can't pull that apart. Okay. I am physically able to take it apart and put it together, but if I do that, my pain levels go through the roof and I need to have a nap.
Yeah.
So I can't just put it in the car and go for a drive. I need someone has to take me out.
Yeah. So would you say you're very confined to your local community and your house and
my block? Because because the pedestrian ramps on the street, I've been stranded. During the lockdowns, I got sick of I thought that I'm going for a little spin around the neighbourhood. So I went down around. There's a little marshy grass park bit. Went across the road, fine, got the other side, my wheelchair got stranded. And I had to call strangers from across the road, can you please help me to push my wheelchair? Because the pedestrian ramps conform to minimum standards for self-propelled wheelchairs.
Yeah. I think there's not
I've been stranded several times. I don't go out on my own because if I get stranded and there's no one around to help, I'm also at high risk of being assaulted, which is as a woman and a woman in a wheelchair, that puts me at high risk.
Yeah.
When did you stop working?
I actually stopped working at the end of 2000. I resigned in order to homeschool my children, so that wasn't
related to your disability.
Wasn't related to my disability. My marriage ended in 2009. And so that's why I got the diagnosis, because I'd need the disability payments to survive on. I wasn't able to go back to work by then.
Yeah.
Could you go back to work now if you wanted to?
No, not as I am.
No.
I did have a business as a proofreader, um, but I closed at the end of 22 just with the bit of that downturn we had in the general economy. Authors tend to stop paying proofreaders first. So I lost clients and I was dealing with uterus issues, and I didn't have the energy to put into getting new clients and to keep them. So I just closed it. The following year I had a hysterectomy, so that's helped.
Yeah.
But I would need supports to be able to work again.
What are your hopes for the future for the disability community?
Oh, but we don't have to gamble quite so much.
What are you fighting at the moment?
Well, I'm fighting to be reinstated on the NDIS. So after 5 years,
taken off.
5 years, yeah, 5 years I was on the NDIS. They sent me a letter of re-eligibility, reassessment for eligibility, and it was generic. Like there's a section on there about if you're a child, but I am obviously not a child.
Yeah.
It's just very generic, no specific information. 28 days from the date of the letter, which they posted. It took 11 days to get to me. So I have a PO box. It was very stressful. I managed to get an extension because I'm very resourceful and stubborn. And they removed me. So there was
What was their reasoning?
They don't give one. They just say that I have to prove I'm disabled.
You no longer meet the criteria.
Yeah, they don't say what
Those
criteria. They don't say why I don't need it. There's no information as to why they gave no. I've since found out through accident, really, that the reason I'm being subjected to it personally is because when I got put onto the program, I had basically a pre-approval. So I was seeing a social worker through CoHealth. So I automatically qualified for the NDIS. My social worker put in a heap of paperwork with everything, and I went on. Because I didn't go through the normal process, they're now penalising me for that, different government, changing the rules, and I'm having to fight. And it's frustrating me because so October 23 is when I had the hysterectomy, and that's also when my funding ran out for therapies. Up to that point, all my impairments were minimal. So the fatigue, the pain, the hypersensitivity, depression, insomnia, everything was minimal and stable. And I was very excited that once I had the hysterectomy and recovered, that in 24, I was looking forward to study again. I was thinking probably set for a diploma, tossing up, something in advocacy. I was looking forward to studying hydrotherapy at the beginning of the year because I put uterus a couple of years. Yeah, really don't go into the pool when you have those issues. So I was looking forward to going, and instead I get this letter of reassessment, and I spent 2023 fighting, get removed anyway. And so last year was just.
And would you say because of that, you've then stopped your therapies, and
I can't afford my therapies.
You've declined?
Oh, yes.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah. My physiotherapist did a very detailed report. I've got personal evidence-based data. So it's called AXIT, AXIT. It's the brand, but it's a dynamometer. And it looks like, it looks like a hand weight, but it's got flat ends. And she presses it, and I have to press back as hard as I can in different areas of my body. And when I had the second one done, I was still having my therapies. When she did this one, I'd not had the therapies, and there was a significant decline in all areas. And I am now, so for example, one of the areas, like might be my arms or my legs, whatever, one of the areas I was like 10% lower than the average full woman 10 years older than me.
Wow.
My strength. For a person who used to be very strong, and that was very hard to take. So yeah, I need the therapies to be able to function. It's declined. Giving me a support work and a cleaner is very nice, but I need therapies. So yeah. I had my first hearing in March for the actual tribunal hearing.
Now.
Yes, the administrative review tribunal.
Yeah.
So that was also, that apparently is going to be, let's see if we can talk it out, which won't happen because they're saying, no, you can't have it. And I'm saying, put me back on. So yeah, it is supposed to be done with by May. The NDIA did state in their letter saying, no, we're not giving you supports while this happens, but we'll get it finished by May. The members' decision was that, yes, you will give her supports, and yes, you will also have it done by May. So we'll see. But it's very draining. And
Exhausting.
yeah,
You're
and
in a constant limbo, right? It's just
yeah,
you just
yes,
want a decision to move on.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
didn't have any supports at all, no course supports, nothing for 3 months. I put on 4 kilos. I'm like, excuse me, I can't cook a proper meal. So I had a few meals already, healthy ones frozen, but I was having spaghetti on toast, the continental pasta sauce packets, takeaway, frozen chicken tenders to make up, so to try to stretch out the healthy meals.
Yeah.
And yeah, I put on weight. I'm not happy about that at all.
It does make it very difficult.
It
And,
impacts all areas of life. People don't understand.
Yeah.
and we do wish you all the best on
Thank you.
your art case, because you're not the only person. We've had a number of clients who have had their eligibility reassessed and taken off the scheme. And I think that there's a lot more to come. So,
well, there's 1,200 letters per week.
yeah,
80% of those are for children, which really makes me angry. And approximately 48% are being removed from the scheme. That's almost 600 people a week. It's not acceptable.
no, it's not, especially when there's no foundational support set up. These
Yeah, well,
children,
that's what I say. Get foundational support, but I'm in the outer western suburbs. There is nothing out here.
yeah, the children are falling through the cracks, and it's going to come back and make it worse in 20 years' time.
It will, because I'm an adult woman. I'm quite capable. I will somehow survive because I always do. What's a child supposed to do? How's a parent supposed to get them to school? How are they supposed to focus on schooling and socializing at school if they don't have the basics they need in place? So that's part. I was going to give up and not bother with the tribunal because I don't even know if I'm eligible, because I've changed everything so much. I just didn't know anymore. But I had some really amazing, encouraging support from people. And I thought, you know what? If this is making me this miserable, if this is affecting my depression and my life so badly, what about those people who can't speak up?
Yeah.
What about those children whose parents are too exhausted just caring for the child that they can't speak up because they don't have the energy? The people who are too scared to speak up because they're worried that their plans are going to be condensed or they'll get removed. Now, what about those? So I thought, yeah, I'm going to do this, even if I don't get put back on. If I can get focus on the NDIA that what they're doing is not right, that legally they're not following fair procedural fairness, that I will count as a win.
And I'm sure that I've heard many cases of them not being model litigants. So we need to bring it out in the open.
Yes. So I'm doing that.
We will get there. It's just a slow process.
Will.
Yeah.
We will. I won. So I won the stay application.
Fantastic.
And as soon as the orders were forwarded to me, I was off at LinkedIn, put it up there as a file, say, look at this, people, read it, see if it can help you.
Yeah.
It took 2 weeks to be published publicly. 2 weeks to put it up. I can't. There's stuff I would like to share now, but I can't. So as soon as my lawyer said, yeah, go for it, I'll be flooding everything. I want to share everything I can. Just remove things like my my NDIS number and my email, that sort of thing. But I'm happy for my name to be attached, and I'll be putting it out there and hoping it will help other people.
Look, shared knowledge is powerful knowledge. So we need to make sure that everyone knows their options and what they can do to advocate for themselves. So yeah,
they have options in the first place.
Yeah.
And we find a lot of our clients feel so alone, like they're the only one going on this journey. And the more we share, the bigger the voice. So if we can help anybody through that process, we absolutely will. So thank you very much for what you were doing.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
As we start to wrap up, what are your final words for people who are listening about disability, about the future? What do you want to see change?
I would like for us to be seen as people first. So I'm not a disabled woman. I'm a woman who lives with disability.
You're Veronica.
I'm Veronica. Oh, yes, definitely Veronica. So, I mean, obviously, see the wheelchair, see the hearing aid, see the stick or the guide dog, see the disability, see the condition, but also Remember, that is a person.
Mm-hmm.
See the person first. And understand that accommodations are not luxuries. It's not unfair. It's not giving unfair advantage. That accommodations are essential and that we need a reasonable quality of life as well, just like anyone else.
It makes it an equal playing field, accommodations. It doesn't give you an advantage.
Yes.
It just makes you equal.
Look, everyone has a right to access life in general, right?
Yes.
Their
Yes,
community,
exactly.
even your local shopping centre. We should be able to not have to second guess that and just go and do what we need to do without thinking, can I access it?
Yeah. Well, when I was a child, there was a small group of us and parent get together thing. So we didn't know each other. And one of the children was profoundly deaf. And we didn't know sign language. I was about, I don't know, 5 or 6 of us kids around the similar age. I think I might have been about 9. And our instinct as children wasn't to exclude the deaf child. Is that we saw this boy and we wanted to talk to the boy, and the deafness was a barrier to that. So we were trying to find ways to include him. And I think that's what adults need to remember, that you see the person, they have the right to be a part of society. They have the right to a voice, whether that voice is through your mouth or through your fingers or through an AT device. See the person and talk to the person because they have a lot to offer.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
On that note, thank you so much, Veronica. We've really enjoyed speaking with you today.
Oh, thank you, Kate and Jen. It was lovely chatting with you.